optimization techniques. So
Understood.
this is the main project that we have been using at Greedy Game. Along with
Mhm.
this, supporting with this, we have been building multiple apps to test out the SDK and the performance.
Mhm.
And I have also been building for the past 1 month. I have been
Mhm.
building a event-based library which would log events that are coming from the SDK and put it in BigQuery for later analysis. So this would track events like the user journey, the crashes that are happening, the ANS that are happening, and
Mhm.
then it would store it there for later analysis.
Mhm. Understood. Got it. So you must be like, so you have been working for the SDK. Matlab, you have been developing the SDKs, right?
Right.
Basically.
Yes.
So, okay. Okay. So this is your Android round or system design round?
System design round.
Okay. So let's start from the design problem first. Then we will discuss more about this SDK and some basics of like creating the SDK and all, right? So
Sure. Sure.
I'm sharing a Lucid chart link with you.
Okay.
Uh, just open that and share your screen.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh, I think I have
Yeah,
sent it. Yeah.
it will be asking for Google login. So just click on Google, and then it
Okay.
will work. No issues. Yeah, just click on Google. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just quickly explain you what is this, and then we will discuss a little bit of high level diagrams and what the approach is and all. So
Okay.
assume that there is a scenario. You have joined our company, and then there is a new requirement that has come in. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk you through this requirement, and then we will discuss further. Right. So
Okay. Okay.
consider that there is a app B,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Let's not talk about app B right now. Consider that there is a app called Sports Kida, right?
Okay.
Now, and you are one of the apps. You are the surfaces. Matlab, you are the client app, right?
Okay.
Now there is a requirement that people has that your product team has told you that you need to show sports scores on in your app. You are the client app, right? In your app, you need to show
Okay.
the football score, cricket score, this score, that score, right? So
Okay.
now, there can be two things that you can do. Either you can take some maybe some premium subscription of Opta APIs or something, and then
Right.
you just integrate the APIs from in your app itself, and then show the UI, no issues. But
Right.
now, the constraint is app A don't have the internet permission.
Okay.
This is the constraint that I'm giving you. That app
Okay.
A don't have the internet permission. So now that backend thing is totally like wasted, right? Now
Right.
the second thing, what you can do, you can ask other companies. For example, you can ask Sportskida or any other aggregator, right? And you can just say that
Mm-hmm.
ki, okay, I will give you money. Obviously, I will give you SDK. You just take my SDK, put it inside your Sportskida APK, right? Sportskida app that people will download from the Play Store. Obviously, the
Mm-hmm.
solution will not work if your phone does not have the Sportskida app. But assuming that the user has Sportskida app already, and you are the
Okay.
client, and your app is also present in his phone, in the user's phone. So
Okay.
now what you want to do is you want to communicate your app A to app B, take the scores, take the data. It can be score, location, team one, team two, like that. Basically, you need to create the Pojo also.
Okay.
Then once you have all the data with you, you can send that data. You can push the data from app B to app A, and then consume it. Do whatever you want to do. You want to show the UI, you can. You want to do anything that you can do, right? So
Okay.
that's what is the problem statement that you have to do, right? So
Okay.
now, if you see, it is written that app B will send data to app A as soon as backend updates the app B. Now app B have internet permission, app B have storage permission, app B have everything, right? So
Okay.
app B will update their SQL DB, and in turn you need to do something so that your app A can be updated. And there are little bit of hints that
Mhm.
I have added in below, that there can be multiple matches of multiple sports, and
Yeah.
user will have some sort of a preference, right? Matlab, uh, maybe you can think in terms of scoring, like कि for you cricket ka score will be more because you like cricket more, or let's say for me it will be football, or for someone
Mhm.
it will be hockey. So there can be multiple matches of multiple sports, so that thing also you need to take care. Then there are two assumptions that you need to take care for to complete the high level diagram that I want you to do. The
Mhm.
first assumption is that you don't need to create the high level diagram of app B, because
Okay.
app B is sports kida. You don't
Mhm.
care. Like today is sports kida, tomorrow it can be something else. So you need to just create a SDK which is generic. Today you are shipping it to sports kida. Tomorrow you can ship it to someone else. So you don't need to create the HLD of app B and anything related to app B. Consider it
Okay.
as a black box and just assume that data is coming from their backend and going into their DB, and just they are storing like India 34 runs, like anything. Like for you it is a string. Consider that
Okay.
the score is coming as a string from backend and you are just consuming it. And the second assumption is app A don't have internet permission. Apart from that, you can think and create a good high level diagram that like obviously like consider that it's a problem statement that I have given you, and you need to create a high level full-fledged high level diagram,
Okay.
so that obviously we can ponder it more over, and then we can have discussions over, right? And then
Got it.
LLD I'll not discuss. I'll discuss it theoretically, but yeah, for this thing, but just let's discuss. Yeah.
Okay.
LLD.
So,
You can use Lucidchart if you want. You can use Draw.io or any other platform, and anything that you like.
okay.
ठीक,
Um,
let's go.
one question I have here is
Mm-hmm.
since
Mm-hmm.
Sportskida is also a reporting app for sports,
Right.
so the client there would be again be showing a list of all the sports, like
Yeah.
in
So
tabs
as
where we can cricket,
yeah,
hockey, football.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So let me give you a little bit of background. So
Okay.
consider that Sportskida has 20 million users, right?
Okay.
Now
Okay.
matlab your client, your app has 120 million users. So now Sportskida will think, right, ki if I can power my data into app A, which is having more
Mm-hmm.
users than me, then it
Mm-hmm.
will it will increase the CTR of me, right?
Right.
You have been working with the ads company, which means you know the CTRs and all.
Right.
So the revenue depends on CTR, the revenue depend on the impressions, right? So app B
Right.
wants to increase their revenue also. So it's a deal between app A and app B, that
Okay.
if user is using app B, no issues. But
Mm-hmm.
because app A has more users, let's consider app A as Swiggy. Now in Swiggy, you are showing Sportskida ka score
Okay.
because
Okay.
Swiggy, more users use Swiggy than Sportskida. So consider app A as Swiggy. I don't know, just saying, right?
Got it.
So
Got it. I understood.
so that's how, matlab. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, so we would have different tabs in that case for different sports, and there would be a card for different sports. And all the required information, I'm assuming, would come from Sportskit in that case, like the match details, logos, and everything.
Yeah.
And
So what you can assume, for the sake of simplicity, is that
mhm,
you would get a view. Matlab,
I
let
will
me
get a
share a
view.
code share. Yeah, maybe remote view. Let me share a code share link with you. I will explain you a little bit more.
Okay.
I have shared a link with you in the chat. Just open it. It's empty. I'll just type a little bit in there, right?
Uh, have you shared it in? Okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah, yeah. Acha, it might be lag. So
Ah, yes.
now consider that they are sharing something like this. Just saying, right? Ki
Okay.
um score. अच्छा ठीक है. Let me type well score.
Mm-hmm.
ठीक
Mm-hmm.
है. और this is string. Let's say well view, and this will be view. So you don't need to take the logo, the the UI basically. Consider that the view is also view Sportskeeda is sending. Ignore it. Matlab, it's not. This is not the thing that I want to that I am looking in this question, right? So that's why.
Okay.
So consider
Okay.
that it's view, Hana. Then consider that you are there's a view where everything is there, score is there, or let's say um anything priority, as I said, right? Key
Mhm.
priority might also come. So let's say priority or anything else that you want. So
Okay.
for the logo, team name, team, that thing is not needed for this
Mhm.
question, because
Mhm.
consider that view is prepared by the Sportskeeda itself.
Okay.
This is also one good assumption then, that even I can add it in the assumption list. Yeah,
Okay.
I have
Okay.
added. Yeah,
So from a functionality standpoint, in that case, I should be able to see the scores that that is there for the matches, and I should be able to. So again, will the user be providing me which sports he wants to see? Like you said, you like football, right? So when
huh.
you open Swiggy, would I be
That
determining that you
that
like?
you can that is open-ended question that you need to cover in your HLD. Yeah,
Okay, so the interest is something that we have to figure out,
correct.
and we will also have to refresh the score coming in for a particular match, I guess.
Correct,
So
absolutely.
since we are showing just a single view inside, let's say for Swiggy, for example, I would not
Mhm.
have a lot of space in Swiggy. And since I'm looking at the audience mainly, so I would be looking at one match that is of interest for the user, and I will be
No,
continuously refreshing that over time.
uh, no. What if you have shown interest in four matches? Sorry, four scores. Well, sorry, yaar, क्या बोलते हैं? Four sports, right?
Four sports, okay?
So your UI like your so you should not consider one matlab, right?
Okay, okay.
It can be top five. Maybe you have given while onboarding you have given the reference, sorry, the preference of five sports. So it's
Okay,
not
got
like only one, it can be more than one also.
got it, got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So another mandatory thing would be refreshing of scores on time, and if the user clicks on something, maybe I redirect them to Sportskeeda or something, and then Sportskeeda handles it. So
correct, correct.
redirection of the user. Okay.
Hmm.
So one question I have other than this is that if let's say Sportskeeda is offline and the Swiggy is also offline, but the user still opens the app and let's say we have some view where we're showing the sports information, do we show them the previous history of all the things that have happened, or do we just show the last non thing that we
Yeah.
have?
Yeah, so we just need to show the last live score. We are not persisting anything.
Okay, so there's no need of persistence from my side in that case, from the client
Correct.
side in that
Correct.
case. Okay.
You just need to consume the data what Sportskeeda is sending. Correct. But
Okay.
yeah, but why? Matlab, what you can say that ki assume that your app got killed, right? So if your
Uh-huh.
app got killed, then your cache, matlab your values will get resetted, right?
Right.
And let's
Right.
say Sportskeeda also got killed, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sportskeeda ka process also got killed. If in that scenario, your UI will return null. मतलब Sportskeeda will return null. So you need to handle those scenarios at least. So
Okay.
maybe persistence might be required. Just giving you a hint, but yeah.
Okay. 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 So yeah, I think I have some idea in my mind. Please guide
Yeah.
me on this. But to start with, I would assume that since we have an
Can you
app that is already yeah.
can we start typing a little bit, like what are your assumptions? How will you
Uh-huh.
approach it? Like you can if you're comfortable with Lucidchart, we can start here only. You can yeah uh,
Mm, I'm
just
not very
go.
familiar with using that.
Then you
Right.
can use anything. Matlab, I just want HLD, so you can use something.
Okay.
Exactly. If you use this, you can use this. Yeah.
Okay. So
Just
my
share me the
first
link later.
okay, I'll share it with you.
Yeah.
I think I can have a session here also if you like.
No. Just share me the link later for my review. Matlab, to submit to HR basically. For now,
Okay.
you can go ahead. No issues.
I'm not sure how. I think.
Later,
Okay.
otherwise you can share me the screenshot of the screen. No issues.
Ah,
But like
okay.
that
Okay.
we
I'll
can
do
do later. Yeah. No issues.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first assumption would be that we should have a reference. Sorry, we have both apps installed in the system. So both apps are installed. So will there be cases where the apps are not installed, like Sportscada is not installed, and then just the
Yes,
client app is
yes,
installed?
yes, yes. You need to handle. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything can happen.
So,
Yeah.
so Sportscada might not be available. Might not be available for thing and in the app in the device, and we might need some kind of a persistence, maybe a db to show the last score that might be required for the user, and there should be some mechanism for refreshing. So this could either be a polling that the client does to the Sportscada app in some time, maybe in a fixed interval of n, or there could be a broadcast-based system where the Sportscada tells the app that there is a update that has happened. But this would also mean that some third-party app that could also know about the broadcast flag can also receive the broadcast and show the data. That is also one thing. And the other thing would be we have to figure out what are the interests of the user that the user would like to see. So this could come from a variety of factors to have an initial heuristic on what is of interest. Like we discussed, it could be coming at the time of onboarding, and later based on the CTRs of different matches that we're showing from the list of from the subset of onboarding sports selected, maybe I can prioritize the sports that the user has shown more interest in. Maybe he had clicked on it to go to Sportscada. I could take that as a CTR. So this were also something that I will have to store in my DB for that case. So DB will also store the preferences of the user in terms of the sports, and this could also be a match in that case. Within cricket, if there are two matches going on at the same time, which match has a user clicked on most will also be of a preference factor, and there will be there will need to be some redirection of the user to Sportscada. So in the worst case, let's say Sportscada is not available, any of this will not be activated. So this I can check with if the package is available in the system. I can do a check and then I can see if Sportscada is available and if the features have to be enabled or not. And since Sportscada is a third-party vendor, and since we might onboard other vendors, it is also best to have some form of a remote configuration over the features connected from Sportscada. So whether to enable or disable this. So to make this easier, Sportscada can be treated as a repository, and I could have an interface of a repository that are connected. And all of the other third-party vendors will also have to then send out events in specific format, and the repositories can handle it and send back to the app. So the remote configuration would, in that case, work well. And so there need to be some abstractions also that I can think of.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
So on a high level, I could even so let's say if I use polling, I could also use content provider connected to the polling, and then see content provider also for the polling to see if there is any if there are any matches connected. Also to get the initial list of matches, if at all there is any match running at that moment live, again I would require some content provider other than just polling. So this would be like probing for content.
Yeah. So basically, why are you polling at the first time, at the first place? Because polling is bad, right? Polling will increase
Right.
the battery consumption. Polling
Right.
will increase the even the complexity, right? Polling will increase so much of complexity that you can't even think of, because
Right.
you will need to handle match like let's say rain is started, right? Now if the rain is started, there is no need of polling because it is raining. There is no need of polling, so you need to handle
Right.
that. Let's say match got kya bolte hain, delayed a little bit, right? and they said that okay, we will get back after 30 minutes, right?
Right.
Then
Right.
again you need to do something. So there
Correct.
can be many unknowns because you don't know. You are not. We are not creating a MLAI app that you know that what is going to happen after 30 minutes, right? That okay,
Mhm.
it is about to rain, so we will not poll like that.
Right.
So
Right. So
do you
my
think? Can you think of something else?
Yeah, so the discussion for polling was just an option that we could use polling for refreshing. But I also personally think polling is not necessary in this case. But some form of a probing, like content provider, would be required to see if then any matches are available at the start. And then I could register a broadcast listener for that particular match or a group of matches or a sports. And then Sportskeeda could send out a broadcast, a system-wide broadcast or a broadcast to my app, and then it can say that okay, there is a update in the app. So this would mean that if the rain has come, it would send out a rain based message, and I could update my db, and I could update my views and everything. And after that, from the when the next broadcast comes for the match resume, I could again update my view based on it.
Okay, got it, got it. ठीक है. The second thing that I wanted to ask is broadcast good again, in terms of battery consumption, in terms of security, in terms of, let's say, if we are sending the broadcast to the device, what if some other app can register our broadcast and then hack us, matlab, consume our data, and
Correct.
etc etc, right? So
Such
can we do
security
something else?
concerns, yeah, such security concerns do exist. Uh, but other than broadcast, I'm not actually getting anything in my mind right now, because Sportskeeda be running at any time, at always in
Yeah,
the background?
consider, like, since you are shipping a SDK to a Sportskeeda team, right? You
Uh-huh.
can do whatever you want to do. You can create a service in there, you can create a provider in there, you can create a AIDL in there, you can create whatever you want to do. Malab, it's your code now, right? Malab, not your code, but you are giving a SDK to them. So you can do whatever you want to do, no? So you have thousands of things that you can do apart from broadcast.
Right. So one option that is coming to my mind right now is a service, but it would have to be a foreground service, because the service might be killed by the system. So
Hmm.
then I can, I'm not sure if I can, I think I can bind it to the app and then request updates from it. So I was
Hmm.
thinking more of that the Sportskeeda would download the information based on some system to their database, and then they would initiate the update from their side to the client side. So that's why I chose broadcast. I'm not sure if there's nothing coming to my mind right now for an update mechanism.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So let me help you here. We can use content provider itself. We can observe
okay.
the content provider.
Okay.
So we don't even need to broadcast something. We just change the content provider, matlab, the data on the content provider, and we can observe it. So content observer.
Okay.
So
I
I
have.
think now we have all the building blocks, as far
Mhm.
as I can see, foresee basically. So
Okay.
now we can start creating the HLD.
Okay. So to start with, I would have, let's say I would have my app. So this would be the client app. And client app will depend upon a few things. The first thing that would depend upon is the Sportskeeda app itself. So this would be the Sportskeeda app, and it would this our system will also have to have some form of a persistence. So this would be connected to a DB as well. Oh, sorry. This will be connected.
Where the provider will be there, the provider will reside in app or the client, like
The
Sportskeeda
provider
SDK.
Right. The content provider would be existing inside the Sportskeeda app,
And this
basically.
provider will be not inside the app, to be honest. It will be an SDK, right? That you will ship to
Right.
Sportskeeda.
Correct.
So can you, like, change it? Because
Okay.
Sportskeeda
So
app, you don't, it's black box for you, right? So you can't even
got it.
create a component inside it, ideally.
So let's say I have client
Ah,
SDK,
makes sense, makes sense.
and
Yeah, now makes
then this
sense.
would be inside the Sportskeeda app.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, continue.
Sportskeeda app. Okay. And now that I don't have, so this DB will then be storing two things mainly. This would be storing the score. This would be storing the score and the interest of the user for a later reference. And the client would be talking directly to the content provider for getting the information and sending it back. And this will also register back a observer, like we discussed, for the updates that are coming in. For the updates that are coming in, and the client app would also be talking to the DB as well as updating data from the DB and showing it in the UI. So it could be that the content provider we check the observer is directly pushing events to DB, and the client app is then being updated via live data or a state flow, and then it's directly being displayed inside the client app.
Yeah.
Refresh. And so the first request that goes in will be probing to see if there is a app that if there is a match that is actually running at that moment. If there is a match that the user is, so the first request for probing will also include the interest of the user and what are we interested in. Is there a match or is there a sport that I'm on a sport interest that is available for the user, and this will also include any matches that we are looking for specifically that the last time that we had seen, and this would then register back a observer, which is a flow of events.
Yeah. So now I have a follow-up question that so let's say Sportskeeda, no, not Sportskeeda. Let's say your client SDK is getting the data from your Sportskeeda or any app
Right.
very fast in the sense hockey, football, cricket, this, that, like thousands of sports, thousands of matches every day, every single minute, right?
Right.
So, do you think that we need queue here? Just giving you a hint or something. Because do you like how will you send data very fast again and again? Matlab, if you are just or will you add a list of observers, like list of observers as in ki one thing is observing football events, one thing is one observer is observing cricket events, or will you use queue, or will you use something else, or what like?
I think the update need not be real time for all sports that have been listed. So let's say there's a football match, a cricket match, and a hockey match that is running, and the user is more interested in the cricket match. So in the UI, there might be cricket that is more prevalent. So if the user
No.
is more interested,
No. As I said that the UI might have list of sports. Let's say you have said that no, I
okay,
will see 3 sports at a time, right? Matlab,
okay,
maybe you have thousands of sports, but I want to see these 3 sports in my UI at a time, like at a
okay,
single, like at one
got
go.
it, got it. Got
So,
it, got it. So,
hmm,
so I should always assume that there are multiple spots visible at a time on the screen, and the user is
right,
all seeing all the multiple spots he's interested in,
right,
and all matches connected, right? Okay.
correct.
So I think one thing I can think of is instead of regular updates, maybe I can buffer some updates for some time. Like the score can be the latest score of the last 3 seconds or something, and then the commentary and everything can be added as a list and then send it over. So since things can be different for multiple sports also, I think some form of buffering at a sports level is better, and there could be since there are multiple like if it's like a tab of different sports, I think I can have one content provider updating different things for different sports at different time. But there are also cases that I can think of. Maybe let's say the cricket is updating, but the football has gone for an interval. So updating football score again and again might not make sense for the content observer. So I think it's better if we have a sports level divided content observer with each on its own buffering of events.
Got it. Got it. Understood. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
So, ठीक है. So, can you change it a little bit? What we discussed, मतलब.
So in
How
that
will
case,
you?
this will be there. I think there will be a sports level observer. So let's say the interest of sports were cricket and football, then I could have cricket observer of
ठीक
this
है.
would contain different matches of cricket, and
Then
I would
the
also
football and all, right?
so
Now,
this,
ठीक है. Now understood. Now, since you have written it, now you will automatically understand that it is bad, because as I said, what if मतलब, you can even Google it right now. How many
okay,
sports are existing in the world?
right.
Like those are thousands of the sports. So thousands of the observers are. Is it good?
Hmm.
मतलब.
Right. So I was assuming that the one assumption I made in my mind without discussing it was that the sports would be limited from the initial onboarding selection, like maybe top 3 or top 4.
I agree. I agree. But in the worst, we have to be prepared for the worst,
Correct,
right?
correct,
We want to
correct.
create a scalable solution. So that's why.
Right.
So
So,
how will you incur that? Like, how will you solve for it?
uh,
I can give you a
I
hint
think
if you want.
uh, I I can use a single observer, but like I said, discussed, different sports might have different events coming in, and but the observer doesn't need to actually have all the sports being sent out, right? So if the football is actually in interval and the cricket is actually in progress, the
Mhm.
observer just has to update the cricket match and the cricket related information. It doesn't have to be concerned about football.
Yeah,
So I think the differentiation can actually come from the event model itself, and there
yeah,
can
you have
only
already
be a
solved
one
for it.
observer.
Correct. That's what I was saying. That do you even need to know what is the sports? If your
Right,
event Pojo, if your event can say that okay, I am football, I am
right,
football
right,
event. I am,
right.
so you will be able to solve it in the one observer only, right?
Correct, correct. Yes. So I think I
Yeah.
can
So
use one observer in that case.
okay, so how this event will look like, and what the Pojo you will send to client? Uh,
To the
like,
client. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah. And what is this event? Yeah.
okay. So there could be for the observer, it could be an update event that is being sent, and the update event could have multiple sports coming in or multiple events coming in basically. So this would have an events which is an array of sport events. And this sport events can have different things like this could also be okay. So the sport event itself can look like the score at that time.
Hmm.
So I can even break it down in multiple things. So I could have a score event that is coming in with the current score and maybe the match ID for updating the UI. And I could have a commentary event that is coming in also, which has the commentary that is coming in, and for which match ID has it been coming in for. And so each of the events can also be broken down into multiple scores. But I think a group level aggregation at the match ID is better. So maybe I could have a map that is
Mhm.
connected at the match ID level, assuming each of the match IDs would have their own unique UIDs or something
Hmm.
created by the Sportskit app or even the client SDK. And this could have a list of events that are coming in.
Hmm.
So this events, like we discussed, can also be a score event, can also be a commentary. Maybe because the score doesn't update, but there is a commentary change. I'm not really sure on how it works because I'm not very fond of watching cricket. So I am assuming that if a score, if somebody has hit a no ball, or there is a decision pending from a for a LBW, the score wouldn't change and the commentary would change, right? So I'm assuming that it's better that we have a separate event coming in for the commentary itself uh,
Hmm.
for the sports. So each of the events could then look like this. And from the UI, I can update the specific event on the matches. So let's say in the DB, if I have a match ID and if I have commentary stored for it, then I can actually update the events.
And one more thing, if I say that, like, how will you, let's say something happened, है ना? And there was a wrong entry in the Sportskeeda DB, right? Now they have deleted it. They have they have some job or something. They have deleted that wrong entry, wrong match. How will you handle that? Because your client will, as you have created the DB in your client, which means you are persisting something. So that thing is like again discrepancy. It will have problem, right? So so how will you solve for it? And one more thing, just saying, I'm not saying you are wrong, but is DB needed at client side at the first place? So these are the two questions that I have.
Okay, so is DB required the client side? So we were building actually a PandaDraw based, a Pictionary based app which had some features like this. So the decision that we had taken at that point was we could have another event which would actually delete a commentary. So if I have an ID or a string, like an ID for a commentary, if the entry was wrong, I could send a delete commentary event.
What is this commentary? What is this commentary meaning? Like, what is the meaning of commentary?
So this would be like KL Rahul has hit a 6, or a boundary. So this would also, this could, I'm not sure because commentary can, I don't know how frequently the commentary changes. I assume it changes with every ball. So if it changes with every ball, it would also be like a score update event that is happening, where there is either no update or there's a so I think I can actually have commentary being sent out in a different in a different event rather than clubbing it together and then sending it, because this has to be real time, because the user is actually looking at the event and seeing the progress for it. So
progress for it, correct.
If a commentary is coming in 3 seconds batches, then the user will see a flood of information coming in, and then he will have to follow the match one by one, follow the commentary one by one to see an update,
which is bad.
Which is bad for experience. So I think
Correct.
even if the commentaries, if I have to have any delete things, even if the commentary is to be deleted, I can just have a delete comment event with an ID that I can then later remove from the DB and then update the UI. So the reason for me choosing DB,
yeah, that's what, because again maintaining this delete, why are we complicating the things? Like, do we need this DB? Because see, content provider is providing you a content, and you are creating a one more source of truth. Your source of truth should be your content, Sportskeeda content provider at the end of the day. Why you are creating your own DB and then consuming it and doing other stuff, which means you have broken the principle of the single source of truth, right? So why? Yeah.
So my reason for DB in the first choice was an assumption that I made because let's say in case of offline where the Sportskeeda app is not available, and the client was actually looking at a cricket match, it would see that the Swiggy is showing a cricket match for some time. Since the Sportskeeda app crashed for any reason, the score would then disappear from the client,
UI.
and let's say the client is restarting the app again, and Sportskeeda app was not restarted, then again he would see an empty list. So the user who was expecting a score there for at least the last score is now seeing an empty screen. Now I felt that the client might be disappointed. So that is why the last things were being stored in the DB.
Okay, so let me tell you one thing, that key, let's say that you can't have two source of DBs, so two source of the data, right?
Okay.
And so this is the one problem that I told you. The second thing that you already told, that what if Sportskeeda app got crashed or something. So how will you solve it? Because let's say there's a constraint, you can't have DB in client. So how will you solve it? How will you do? What will you do?
one thing I can do is, since the Sportskeeda app itself doesn't have to be active for me to figure out the data, it could be that a service is running in behind, which is triggered by my client SDK or something, and that could be also providing the content. So it could be that when I indicate my interest, content provider can then start the service, or content provider can actually update the DB and then give me the information. So maybe I don't need this DB, and I can just trigger it here in the first trigger message, the probing
Right.
message.
So can you change the HLD according to it? Yeah, because you are right. So yeah.
Okay. So now the only concern for me for having DB is the interest of the user.
Yeah, interest makes sense because interest is not like if the match is deleted, if the match is deleted, interest is not deleted, right? So interest you can persist, no issues. It was just about the match, right? So yeah, now can you change the HLD? Yeah.
Yeah. So this would also start the. I think this can be more of an internal detail of the client SDK, that it starts the refresh on the probing. Do I have to mention it here, like a probing request?
Yes, yes, you should. You should. You can use like more arrows instead of one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this would mean a probing a start service request. This would actually stem from this. It can actually stem from the same request, but just double for a clarity. So in that case, the commentary doesn't have to be stored. I don't think I have to actually change the commentary. The ID, I would still require an ID, since the delete command event is coming with an ID. So the reason why I am still sticking into a delete command event is that I don't have to send a list of events. So when I send an ID, the update can happen in memory from the client side using maybe inside a view model or somewhere, where I modify the commentary list and then I update the UI accordingly. Hello.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. So I was saying that just for your knowledge, content provider has this functionality already that as soon as you call it, right, you don't need to start the service. It will start your app even if your app is killed. Like it's the Hana. So start service is not needed, to be honest. But yeah, you can say that it's that first call. So you can change the start service request to initialize content provider. So it is one and the same thing. So you initialize content provider. So as soon as you initialize the content provider again, it will start your app. It will call the on creator of your app basically.
Okay.
Right. So that is done. The another thing is that I wanted to ask in this, that let's say now your client can be multiple. Chalo, theek hai. Before that, let me come to a theoretical question. What is publisher subscriber pattern and what is producer consumer pattern, and how are they different from each other? Pub sub and producer consumer, and how are they different from each other?
Okay. From the name of publisher subscriber, it would mean that I am subscribing to a specific messages to be delivered to me of some interest to the publisher, and the publisher is publishing those events directly to my client app. So uh, in the producer consumer, I would assume that I'm not really sure on the difference here, and both of these are theoretical. I am not really sure on the concrete answers for this. But for the producer consumer, I would assume that the producer is just generating content. It's up to the consumer to actually figure out what is of interest, and then one second.
You can Google it if you want, because we just need answer, right? So if even if you go to CodeShare, the link, I've added one Stack Overflow link. Just open this link, read it, and then make me understand what is this.
Okay.
You can read the first answer. It's good. And then what are we using? What are we using in our phone? Well, sorry, in our HLD.
Got it. Got it.
Take your time.
Okay. So one key difference that I can understand from the definition here is that subscribers are connected to the publisher, and publisher is not specific on sending out the updates to any one subscriber. It sends it out to all subscribers. And in producer consumer, it would be more like a channel where I'm looking at events in a worker model, where the event that is already processed by a worker is not available to other workers. So in our case, if there is only one client in our case, it is possible that we use publisher consumer or the producer consumer or the publisher subscriber. But since there is a possibility that there might be multiple client apps, then in that case, a publisher subscriber would be required, since the same score update has to go through all the subscribers and not just one subscriber.
Okay, so can you scale your HLD for multiple clients and multiple clients and multiple क्या बोलते हैं like multiple producers and multiple consumers. So multiple publishers and multiple subscribers. So
Okay.
Sportskeeda can subscribe to client 1, client 2, client 3, and let's say there is one more app as SDK where we have pushed it called ESPN Crick Info, है ना? And now ESPN Crick Info is also powering the data to maybe client 2 and client 1. मतलब client 3 it is not powering. Client client 1, 2, 3 is powered by Sportskeeda, and client 1 and 2 is powered by ESPN Crick Info. So it will be like multiple publishers, multiple subscribers, something like that. So,
So this would be, in that case, the ESPN app. And there will be client 2 and there will be client 3. Okay. So if I have an observer, I'm just assuming here, just let me know if I'm wrong. So if I have a live data that is inside a view model, very specific to Android, there could be that multiple observers are connected on the same live data, right? Or if there's a flow, if I can access multiple flows of events. So if the observer is something, if there is like a live data that is happening inside the content provider, and if I can attach multiple observers to that, then the same observer is just enough for giving out the interest, giving out the updates for different matches.
correct.
So in that case,
you're right.
So in that case, I can just use the same observer here also for client 2 as well. So client 2 could subscribe to the same event that is being produced inside the content that is being published from the content provider, and the same case for 3 as well.
Got it.
So I'm assuming that the ESPN also would have a similar mechanism for updating the score.
Correct, because it's your SDK. Yeah, client SDK will be yours only.
Okay, client SDK will be mine. Okay, so in that case, Okay, that's also a big issue because I was assuming if the sports ID is something that I generate and the sports ID is something that ESPN generates, I would have duplicate events coming in client one and client two, and I have to filter through it. But if I have a static way of understanding how the ID is being generated for a particular match based on the
Hmm.
country or different two countries being played at that moment,
Hmm.
then the ID would be the same for the match, and
Hmm.
the ESPN also can update client one and client two, and client one can already see if the event is already being processed. If yes, it can remove the event, or it can just delete the event,
Hmm.
take or leave the event.
Yeah.
So
So can we solve it? Uh, can we have some maybe some adapter? Uh, just saying, like, how will you approach it? Because
huh,
as you said that what if ESPN is sending something else? Like, can we have something, maybe some remote config, something which we can
huh.
expose to other apps or something?
Okay, so one question here: will Sportskida app and ESPN be active at the same time and then send out events at the same time? Like,
Yeah,
will I be
why not?
subscribing to both
What if,
and
yeah,
then?
yeah. So what if, let's say, as at 2 p.m. today, there is
Mhm.
a sports match as well as there is a cricket match. Now, ESPN Crick Info is only for cricket, correct? So
Mhm.
now you have subscribed ESPN Crick Info as your publisher, and then you have subscribed it for cricket. And then at
Okay.
2 p.m. only, football match is also there. And for that, you have subscribed for, let's say, Sports Kida app.
Huh.
So it will be like it can be multiple at the same time, multiple events at the same time. But yeah, we can assume that obviously as a user or maybe as a app, we can't have two matches with the two different publishers. Matlab, basically India versus Australia is getting published from ESPN as well, and
Huh.
India versus Australia is published from Sports Kida as well. So that we
Huh.
can stop, let's say. So
Okay.
again, for that to stop, we need a uh what you can say,
Different.
same type of a match ID. Otherwise, you'll not be able to know that this match is same as what ESPN is sending us. So that's
Correct.
what
So,
the, can we normalize it? Can we have a adapter or something?
huh. We also discussed that the same client SDK that we have built will also be inside the ESPN, right?
Hmm.
So if the client SDK itself can handle out that uniqueness of the ID based on some parameters that we built at that point based on the match, maybe we look at the two countries that are there and then we concatenate the name. Very simple example. Maybe
Hmm.
that acts as an ID. That can be similar out on the both clients. And maybe at the client level, where in the app, I can maybe reject events and select events based on the timestamp of the event. Maybe if I have seen already the event, then I can actually remove the event because the timestamp is already processed or something like
Huh.
that.
Hmm. Or can we ask our like, can we ask ESPN and this Sports Kida that
Mhm.
okay, please give us a list of the sports with your enums, right? And then we create our own enum and like basically a mapping, right? That okay, for
Okay.
Sports Kida it is called HCK. HCK is hockey for Sports Kida,
Okay.
but for
Huh.
ESPN, let's say hockey is HK, right? So what
Huh.
we will map HCK and HK to a single
Huh.
game,
Correct. Correct.
something
Correct.
like that. So can we do that, or is it bad, or is it good, or like is it hard, or like what is your thoughts?
So HCK, would it identify the sport event or is it identifying the sports itself?
You are identifying the sport, because at the end of the day, sport is the thing. Matlab, event can be more, right? But
Huh. So,
same
uh,
sport. Acha, you are saying that event as in that India versus Australia type of thing, right?
huh. Yes. Yes.
Ha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you need the granular. You need to check this at the granular level of the match event, basically, not the
Okay.
sport. So HCK underscore IND. I don't know matlab, what sports kida
Huh.
uses. It can use
Got it. Got it.
ABCD, right? So we need to map that ABCD, and let's say ESPN uses PQRS. So we
Mhm.
need to map ABCD and PQRS to one thing which can be understood by our client, basically. So how
Right.
can we approach it?
Right. So I think this approach can also be taken in case of a client SDK. So one way I can see is we ship out different flavors of the SDK to Sportskeeda and ESPN, where it's
Mhm.
the client SDK is very tailor made for the events that are coming from ESPN, and client SDK, the normalization happens right within the client SDK.
Mhm.
That is one solution that I can think of,
Mhm.
which it actually depends upon the volume, because even in ad tech, I have seen companies doing tailor-made SDKs for different clients based on sizes, and a generic SDK based on the size of the client.
Mhm.
So this is one solution I can think of. Let's say
Mhm.
we are not going with that approach, and we are just forwarding all the even the ideas that are coming in from Sportskeeda app to the client SDK. I think
Mhm.
there can be specific implementation classes here for different in the client side for different vendors of data.
Yeah. So
So
basically, you have created adapters, right?
we'll have an
Adapter,
adapter. Yes.
adapter IMPL is for Sportskeeda, adapter IMPL for ESPN, adapter IMPL for that thing, right?
Right.
So now you are on the right track. Just tell me, is this adapter really needed at the client side, or it should be in the client SDK?
Yes. So this is not supposed to be there. I think it should not be here. It is better that the client SDK normalizes it and then sends it out to the client itself. So the client
Absolutely
doesn't have to worry about who is looking at the data.
correct. So can you change it?
Yes. So I
Yeah.
will then have the adapter here
Mm-hmm.
and the adapter inside the client SDK.
Right,
Should
and
I
it will normalize the data and then send it accordingly, right?
and send it across to the
Mm,
content
mm,
provider?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So I think I'll just copy this.
Yeah. So I think we have discussed it everything. Just take maybe 5 minutes of more time. I'll not say anything.
Okay.
Complete this, clean this HLD, and then
Okay.
we can wrap up. Yeah, because it's time already. So
Okay.
yeah, take 5 minutes of time, clean it up, and then we can wrap up.
Okay. I'm not adding the database of interest to client 2 and client 3, since we don't know how they would be processing out the interest of the user.
Why is this called delete comment event? Because we need to delete the match, right? So is it delete match or what?
So this was because if we have a wrong entry for the commentary, this was to
Okay.
update that commentary.
Then we should got it. Then we should have the score deletion event also. And can we have
but
one singular delete?
So we can have a single delete also.
Mm.
But for the score event, I don't think we should have a delete because
Mhm.
score can just send a new score event and then update the score to the previous value. If the run was 51 and the actual run is 50, even if I send the 51, the next event can send it as 50 and then update the score.
So let's say Sportskeeda's backend pushed wrong sport. Matlab, there was no match at 2 p.m. and they pushed it, right?
Okay.
So you will also push it. So how will you delete those bad entries, right? Uh,
So
hmm,
in that case, I will have to have delete events for each of those possible things where whatever I'm adding, I'll have to also have a mechanism to delete it. So this would then extend to something like delete match event, and
hmm.
it could. So I think we can just have a delete event in that case with just the ID. And since each of them can have an ID, then I think we can just have a delete event for a specific ID, and it could delete any of those events.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, ठीक है. So for high level diagram, this is more than sufficient. So
Okay.
I think I am done. You can just share me this link. Maybe if you can, I don't know. Otherwise, you can share me the screenshot. But try
Is
to share
this?
me.
I will try to share it, but I think I don't know if I can export it from here.
हाँ
I
हाँ, you
can do
can.
it. I can
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, yeah. Save to. हाँ. So you can just share it in this chat itself. Yeah. Maybe if you're not able to upload, you can upload it on Google Drive and then share that link. I don't know. Maybe you don't have a upload to other
I
thing.
don't know if this has a upload functionality.
हाँ, maybe because हाँ, ठीक है, no issues.
It is not downloaded. Oh. I think it isn't downloading it for some reason.
Is there any option to share to some email ID? No, there is a link of copy to clipboard.
Is that enough? I don't know if that will render
What
it here.
is?
Right?
Okay,
Is
can
this
you click?
sufficient?
Yeah, can you click enter? I'll just see. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is good, whether we'll be able to. Yes,
I
yes,
think
it is.
it's
Yeah,
readable.
yeah, it is. It is readable. No issues. Yeah,
Okay.
makes sense. ठीक है. Okay. Do you have anything else to ask me?
Yes. How long have you been in Glance?